Good afternoon. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners Board meeting for Tuesday, April 20th, 2021. It is 2 p.m. My name is Ty Mentor, Chair of the Board. We have Vice Chair Commissioner Gary Edwards. We have County Manager Miro Chavez, Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell, and quite a few guests for some presentations and proclamations today. And I believe Commissioner Carolina Mejia is joining us as well. So we're calling the meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Vice Chair Edwards.
Thank you, Chair. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. We would also like to start today with the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge the indigenous people who have lived on and cared for the land and waterways of this county since time immemorial, and who still inhabit the area today, specifically the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Chehalis people, our sovereign tribal partners. And with that, I'm looking for a motion regarding the proposed agenda for today's meeting.
I would move to approve the Tuesday, April 20th, 2021 agenda.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Is there a motion regarding board meeting minutes from April 13th?
Yes, sir. I would move to approve the board meeting minutes from April 13th, 2021.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Board meeting minutes are approved. Bringing us to presentations, and we have 3 today. First is Timberland Regional Library, our annual State of the Library report from the Executive Director. And so at this point, County Manager, can I go directly to Cheryl?
Yeah, thank you very much, Commissioner. First of all, every year I look forward to this presentation from the Executive Director, Ms. Cheryl Haywood, related to the state of the Regional Timberline Library. It is unfortunate that she's joined us via Zoom today, because again, as always, I appreciate her energy that she brings to the room. So I'm sure she will do a fantastic job this afternoon. Cheryl, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. That is a tall order to reach, but I'll give it my best shot. So good afternoon, commissioners. On behalf of Timberland Regional Library's Board of Trustees and staff, thank you for the opportunity to present the 2020 State of the Library and several 2021 initiatives. I would also like to introduce to you President-elect Trustee Nicolette Oliver. She is your trustee you appointed for Thurston County on the Board of Trustees, and she's here today. Can you say hi?
Hello, thank you for letting me be here today. I'm excited to hear the report and excited to see our wonderful county commissioners.
Thank you. And we look forward to your appointment of the second position for Thurston County on the Board of Timberland. I would also like to take this opportunity to introduce to you the library managers who are here today. So let's start with Erica.
Hello, my name is Erica McCaleb, and I'm the manager for the Yelm Timberland Library.
And behind the second Cheryl Haywood is the new library manager for Olympia.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Hope Cochran. Pleasure meeting you all.
And Holly is not here right now. Holly Paxson is the library manager at Lacey, and Linda McKinney's on vacation. She's the library manager at Tenino. And Nicole is the library manager at Tumwater. I don't see her here as well. So you should have received the 2020 annual report with a focus on Thurston County, a link to the 2020 annual report in a magazine and Spark format available at trl.org, as well as a welcome flyer, a welcome to Timberland flyer for Thurston County. So I strongly encourage you to take a look at the 2020 annual report in the magazine and Spark format. It's over 45 pages. We're looking at it as a time capsule of the programs and services and stories and patron feedback received during 2020. So I want to begin today with a quote, which I would like for you to think about as I share these updates with you. And the quote is from author Ann Herbert. Libraries will get you through times of no money. Better than money will get you through times of no libraries. 2020 was a year like no other, a year of disruption and change for Timberland Regional Library as we adapted, like other organizations, to the COVID-19 pandemic. With plans in place in January to launch Timberland's 2020 to 2022 strategic direction, many initiatives as well as core services had to move to a virtual platform. From March last year till now, our staff have done an amazing job increasing the number of and access to digital resources and to adding in online services for technical support to access digital resources and creating tremendously fantastic program content on Timberland's YouTube channel. So we began to offer a new online service called Live Chat, available 9 to 6 Monday through Saturday, available at trl.org. We started to present virtual story times, family story times, adult programs such as book clubs and film clubs and theater clubs and craft programs, as well as virtual school visits. We provided curbside pickup services starting last fall into current times, where we expanded to improve activity kits and personalized library grab bags put together by staff. And people had the opportunity still during the pandemic to check out from the growing collection of the library of things, such as the new environmental education backpacks, assistive devices, and birding backpacks. So we continued also to provide Wi-Fi from 6 a.m. to midnight, 7 days a week, which was vital last year, providing the link for so many people to apply for jobs and stay connected. Staff also launched a new story trail added in the city of Olympia at Priest Point Park and Decatur Woods Park in West Olympia. We just added a 4th story trail at Lake Cushman in a partnership with the Hoodsport Port Authority. We added Creative Bug, an online arts and crafts resource for all ages. And we launched the Anywhere Book Club to read, listen, watch a title with no waiting. And we partnered with the Hands-On Children's Museum, a 5-county partnership, providing thousands of curiosity kits for children to check out, take home, and keep. So in terms of facilities, Thurston County Libraries have gotten a lot of attention in the past year or so. So last year, Lacey got a major refresh. Olympia got a refresh that ended in 2019, but we were still working on a little bit last year. And now Tenino is getting a refresh as we speak. In terms of partnerships with school districts, you have heard me talk in the past about MyTRL. MyTRL is a program for K-12 students in the 46 or 7 school districts in the 5-county area. And I am so grateful that we have this partnership with all the school districts in Thurston County. We had them going prior to the pandemic, which means that during the pandemic, K-12 students in their Skyward account had access to Timberland's online resources, which really complement the resources that school districts have. So Griffin, North Thurston Public Schools, Olympia, Rainier, Rochester, Tenino, Tumwater, and Yelm Community Schools, all the students have an opt-in, or it's an automatic opt-in to have access with an e-number to get onto the Timberland's online platform. Also during this time last year, Timberland responded to the racial unrest across the nation with an anti-racism statement and an equity, diversity, and inclusion action plan, which you can find at trl.org. TRL's new vision from our strategic direction and community engagement in 2019 is libraries connecting to our communities, which took on a whole new dimension in 2020. We continue to provide public library service the best we could while keeping everyone safe. As one team, Timberland Regional Library staff have proven to be resilient, rising to the challenges. So now for some 2020 statistics. and I will share one with you. And that is the Overdrive. Overdrive is the name of the company where we have most of our ebooks and e-audiobooks and some film as well. That increased by 28% in Thurston County compared to the year before. So that's a big deal. And so we have seen that increase across the other 4 counties as well, slightly lower in the other 4 counties, about 20%. And we have added additional funds to our materials budget to, like the board approved and Nicolette approved, $850,000 additional to our collections budget in 2021 to purchase more online content because of the demand. And I wanted to share with you that there are 170,729 active library card holders in Thurston County out of a population of 290,536. That population number is from 2019. And the number I gave you, 170,729, represents the last 3 years from 2018 to 2020. So last August of 2020, the Board of Trustees approved a mobile services plan, a library express stand pilot program in the Grand Mount area, and 2 popular demonstration libraries, one in West Olympia and the other in Hawkes Prairie. So I wanted to give you a very quick update. We are on the cusp of ordering 2 very, very large trucks, which will go to many rural areas in the 5-county region. We understand that there's a great demand for these trucks in the nation, that we will most likely have to wait for about a year to receive these trucks, but this will be like the mobile library services that people grew up with. So we're very excited about mobile services. A library express stand as a pilot in the Grand Mount area, that is, looks like a coffee stand. We're not going to be selling coffee. It's going to be drive-through to pick up holds and drop off holds, and with Wi-Fi access as well. The demonstration popular library, popular titles for people of all ages and in many, many formats in West Olympia will be opening at Capitol Mall on June 1. So we're very excited about that because we just got the keys April 1, and it's going to take us a couple of months to get it up and running. And then Holly, who just joined us, library manager at the Lacey Timberland Library, is helping us out with finding a location in Hawkes Prairie. And so that we're still working on the details of that. So we are now, the libraries are all open now, and people can come in and browse and pick up their holds. It's really important to remember that you can print. So it's 100 pages a week free for people, 50 pages both sided. And you can actually, say you're going to be at the Tumwater Library on Friday at 2, and your printout will be available at 2 on Friday. So, and people now have 30 minutes of the internet, access to the internet. This is the first time since the middle of March of 2020. And so now people have 30 minutes per day per person to access the internet. So to find out the latest hours for the library open hours in Thurston County, please go to trl.org. I can share with you that both Olympia and Lacey are also offering vulnerable population hours that from 10 to 11. So you could see that there as well. So I would like to end by saying, we all know we are living in challenging times. And that's when historically public libraries rise to meet the needs of communities and individuals. And if you haven't read the book called The Library Book by Susan Orlean, I highly suggest you do, because it gives you an overview of not only the LA Public Library fire, but also a history of how libraries in this country have adapted to different crises. And so the quote that I want to share is from Sarah Paretsky. We need libraries to help move us up and move us forward as a country. And I would like to paraphrase her quote by saying, we need libraries now more than ever to help us move up and move us forward as a city, as a county, as a region, as a country. Thank you.
Cheryl and Erica and all you guests. Holly, I saw you joined us. Thank you. Commissioner Mejia, any comments or questions for Cheryl?
No, no questions, but just thank you for this. And Hello to Ms. Nicolette Oliver. It's always good to see her.
Commissioner Edwards?
Yes, thank you very much, Cheryl.
All right, yeah, thank you. Cheryl, I think you know this, but I worked in high school at my city library, and then in college, all the way through college, I worked at the Rare Book Library. So I have about 5 years worth of library in my background. Libraries are very dear to me, and thank you for all your work to keep. It was just every time I see you, it's like there's new stuff going on and new evolution in what you've been able to do during this pandemic. So it's very exciting, and I appreciate your dynamic response to a very difficult situation. And your team, of course. County Manager, I can't see you.
I just want to extend my appreciation to Cheryl and her leadership. I have witnessed her leadership right up from the beginning of her tenure, and she has taken the Timberline Regional Library to the next level. So if anything, the citizens of the county benefit from her leadership. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Now we will move to our proclamation, first proclamation. We have two today. The first one, a very special proclamation, and I believe it's a new one for Thurston County, Billy Frank Jr. Remembrance Month. And I know we have guests here for that, but I will let the county manager introduce this proclamation.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. This is with great pleasure to introduce this proclamation for your consideration. Mr. Billy Frank Jr. committed his entire life to protecting his people's traditional ways of life and the endangered salmon, whose survival is the focus of tribal life. He played a role in the fish wars of the 1960s and 1970s. Due to his undeterring activism, Mr. Bill Frank and others culminated on the landmark Dibble decision in 1974, affirming tribal fishing rights. His legacy also includes his services to the Northwest Indian Fisheries Commission, where he served as the chair for almost 30 years, as well as his posthumous Presidential Medal of Freedom awarded by President Barack Obama. For your consideration today is to declare April 2021 as Billy Frank Jr. Remembrance Month. And I believe we have members of the Nisqually tribe here present if you'd like to hear additional feedback from them.
Yes, I see Willie Frank. And yeah, we would love to, if you have any comments, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Ty. I'm Willie Frank III, Nisqually Tribal Council member. We have our Tribal Council elected secretary here, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jackie Whittington.
So the beautiful sun today, we're the only two left in the office standing our ground today. I think everybody's getting that spring fever today. But no, we just want to thank you guys for taking the time to acknowledge my father and his work over the years. I think everybody's seen, of course, the statue and everything he's been getting recognized for. And to have Thurston County really step up and do this, it means a lot to the Nisqually tribe as well as our family. And I am out of words for how much this means to us. And I think one of the main things my dad would want to see us continue doing is protecting the environment, protecting our natural resources, and everything that lives here on Earth here. So, Jackie, if you have anything else. No? Okay, well, I think that's it for us here. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Mejia, any questions, comments?
No. No questions or comments. I'm just excited. Well, I guess there is a comment. I'm excited that we're doing this. I know his birthday was last month, but better late than never.
Absolutely. Commissioner Edwards?
Oh, I think the only thing I'd say is for Willie mentioned taking care of the earth. Well, he's here at the right day because we're going to do an Earth Day proclamation as well after we get done with this one. So.
Well, sorry, I do have one more thing, actually. You know,
okay.
hearing both of our commissioners, you know, one of the amazing features that my father had was bringing people together. And here we are today. He's still bringing us together with you folks at Thurston County, you know, and we're going to continue to build that relationship between the Nisqually tribe and Thurston County, you know, stronger than it's ever been, I'm hoping, in the next few years here. And you're right, Gary, that means a lot on Earth Day proclamation too. So that's good.
Okay. Chair, I am prepared for a proclamation if you're ready, sir.
I'm ready to hear it.
Billy Frank Jr. Remembrance Month. Whereas Billy Frank Jr. committed his entire life to protecting his people's traditional way of life and the endangered salmon whose survival is the focus of tribal life. And whereas he is remembered for his activism, playing a key role in the fish wars of the 1960s and 70s, including helping establish the survival of the American Indian Association, which was one of the driving forces behind the first fish-in protest of 1963. Whereas these fish-ins became common protests where tribal fishermen and others would return to Frank's Landing and fish off the reservation, allowing themselves to be arrested to bring attention to their cause. And whereas the public awareness raised by these fish-ins due to the untiring activism of Billy Frank Jr. and others accumulated in the landmark Bolt decision of 1974, affirming tribal fishing rights, and whereas following this decision, Billy Frank Jr.'s focus became salmon habitat restoration and protection for the precious land and water to bring back wild fish populations. And whereas his legacy also includes his service to the Northwest Indian Fisheries Commission, where he served as chair for most of its 30 years, as well as his posthumous Presidential Medal of Freedom Award by President Obama. And whereas Billy Frank Jr.'s legacy lives on through his son, Willie Frank Jr., who continues to work collaboratively with, for healthy salmon habitats and natural environments within Washington State. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Thurston County Commissioners hereby proclaims April 2021 as Billy Frank Jr. Remembrance Month in Thurston County and encourages all citizens to continue his legacy by fighting for the protection and enhancement of salmon habitats. Adopted this 20th day of April 2021 by your Board of County Commissioners. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Edwards. Thank you to the folks in Nisqually for being here. It means a lot to us to have you here. You do. Okay, we're going to move to our second proclamation for today, Earth Day. And I'm going to turn it back to the County Manager to introduce that proclamation.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioners, for your consideration. Is an Earth Day proclamation. April 22nd, 2021 is the 21st anniversary of the first Earth Day. This year's theme is Restored our Earth, which includes the focus areas on climate and environmental justice, generative agriculture, and reforestation efforts in building communities. Climate change is already affecting our communities. Impacts like hotter summers, wildfire smoke, and flooding endangers our homes and affect public health and local businesses. Thurston County has signed into the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan. And this is a regional approach, a coordinated approach as to how we're going to be mitigating the impacts of climate change. The McLean school children over the last few years with the leadership of Mr. Ralph Monroe and Bob Barnes have completed many community efforts to plant trees within the vicinity as well as plants. So I always applaud the effort of this uncanny commitment to Earth Day to Mr. Ralph Monroe and Mr. Bob Barnes. Mr. Bob Barnes is here present, and he would like to address the board related to this proclamation.
Okay, Bob, go ahead.
Thank you, County Commissioners, for this opportunity to share with you some of the things that we're doing at McLean. We have planted, literally, the students there have planted thousands of trees along the Evergreen Parkway, tens of thousands of daffodils for about the last 20 years under the guidance of Ralph Monroe. Our current principal, Anthony Brock, appreciates your support. And really, McLean is a model for how activism in the community can really make a difference. And we have a wonderful trail along from McLean School all the way up to the Evergreen State College, which is just a piece of the Capitol to Capitol Trail, which will connect the Capitol campus with the Capitol Forest. This keeps getting better every year, and as far as I'm concerned, every day is Earth Day, and we all need to step up to the plate and take better care of our planet. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob. Any comments from the board? Commissioner Mejia, Commissioner Edwards?
Well, thank you, Bob. And it's always great to see, you know, how we're instilling these great things onto our children and making them appreciate, you know, what we have. So thank you for all the work you do. I'm very excited about this.
I do think I'd like to just comment on one thing, what Bob said, that we all need to work together and treat the planet better every day, not just today. And there are still being, I don't have the number on the top of my head, but it's more than 2 coal-fired power plants being built every day on the other side of this planet, every day. And it makes our job that much tougher to bring about proper protection. I'll just let it go at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. You guys stole my thunder a little bit on the making every day Earth Day. Back when I was young enough to have posters tacked up on my wall, I had a poster that I had for at least 10 years on my wall that said, Earth Day is a great idea. What about the other 364 days? And so I appreciate that message that you guys said. Bob, I appreciate you. Obviously, you know, I come out whenever I have a chance, and I've helped plant bulbs with the kids at McLean and trees over there by the, both on the Evergreen Parkway and over by McLean. And those are just great projects that you have, and getting the kids involved is really important. And not just those kids. I know you're involved at Marshall Middle School and as well as schools in Mason County. So thank you for that work. And for folks that are more interested in this issue and work that Bob's doing, we taped a Coffee with Commissioner episode just yesterday. That'll be our second edition. Commissioner Mejia had one, I think, last month, and my episode is with Bob talking about these issues for about 20 minutes. So a little more information there. That should be out any day. And so with that, I'd be willing to hear a proclamation. Mr. Edwards, do you have?
Yes, sir. Earth Day. Whereas April 22nd, 2021, the 51st anniversary of the first Earth Day, provides an opportunity to increase community awareness and appreciation of the Earth's natural environment. And whereas this year's theme, Restore Our Earth, includes focus areas on climate and environmental justice, regenerative agriculture and reforestation efforts, and building community. And whereas Thurston County strives to provide regional leadership to enhance environmental sustainability for its citizens and for our future generations. And whereas climate change is already affecting our communities. Impacts like hotter summers, wildfire smoke, and flooding endanger our homes and affect public health and local businesses. And whereas Thurston County has signed on to the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan, a regional agreement to significantly reduce climate polluting greenhouse gases while maintaining and even improving our quality of life. Whereas the McLean school children and their community have completed many projects in the Delphi area, including the planting of native trees, daffodil bulbs, maintenance of the McLean School Trail System and Evergreen Parkway, and participation in Earth Day plantings at the McLean School Forest. And whereas more than 5 decades after the first Earth Day, millions of people have answered the call to protect the environment today. Let us do so again by joining raising our voices and standing up for our planet and our future. And now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Thurston County Commissioners hereby proclaims April 22nd, 2021 as Earth Day in Thurston County and encourages all citizens to be a part of this important movement and help write many more victories and successes into our history. Adopted this 20th day of April 2021 by your Board of County Commissioners.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner.
Do we clap? Do we clap?
These remote things are terrible.
Yeah, typically we'd be all gathered together for a photo, but we'll hopefully be doing that before too much longer. Thanks a lot for being here, Bob. That brings us to item number 1, official item number 1 on our agenda, opportunity for the public to address the board. Thank you to our library folks for being here. The Board of County Commissioners welcomes comment from the public at our 2 p.m. board meetings on Tuesdays. There are some guidelines governing such comments. And when you're called, I'll call 2 names, the person who's up and the person who's next up. There will be leave an opportunity for the staff member to sanitize the microphone podium in between speakers. When you're called, please introduce yourself, including the area in the county in which you reside. Please address the board, not audience or staff. Silence your cell phones. The board will not respond directly to public comment, but county manager may follow up on an as-needed basis with specific items. Speakers are limited to 4 minutes to address the board and may not donate that time to another speaker. The board can restrict a person's opportunity to address the meeting for good cause. No comments that are lewd or offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outbursts of any kind, commercial comments in nature, such as promotion of a for-profit business. No remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that may come before the board on appeal. And finally, all materials provided to the county, like documents and whatnot, are subject to disclosure, may be considered public records pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 4256 of RCW. We will do the folks that are in the boardroom, and then I think there's at least 1 person on Zoom that will testify, and then we'll go to the conference call before we move on. So Joe Hanna is first, John Pettit is on deck, and Mr. Hanna can take the podium, and he'll have 4 minutes.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Joe Hanna. I farm in the East Olympia area. I'm here today as a private citizen, although I'm sure you, being in the emails I've sent recently, you're aware that I'm on your County Ag Advisory Committee. I'm a longtime farmer in this county. Your Ag Advisory Committee is made up of a number of longtime farmers, generational farmers. And I hope you had the opportunity to view the email that I sent you all yesterday and consider that. I tried to summarize some of the things that you as the commissioners have commented on in the recent weeks in regards to our committee, your committee. I think that the question of reappointing board or committee members is ultimately your final decision, and it's your final responsibility to do that. However, taking comments from people that don't even attend our meetings, you need to consider the source of those comments and the reasons they're making those comments. Reach out to us. You previously failed to reappoint a member that was hugely impactful to both the committee and to agriculture in this county. That choice, we sent a reply to you via mail in regards to, along with the resignation of a non-farmer member because of the actions of commissioners past and present in regards to the negative comments that they made publicly about our committee members. I think that you have my email. I don't need to reiterate what's been said in it more. I am open to you reaching out, as I said in the email. Call me. I will take your call anytime. I will take your staff's call anytime to discuss any questions that you might have. But the real issue, I think, is not a political one that it seems that the commission is trying to make this into. The real issue in this county is the catastrophic loss of farmlands that continues to occur without anything being done to stop it, which ultimately is your responsibility as a commission. You have a number of things in place to try to mitigate this. The last study done was in 2017 for the 5 years leading up to that. 19% loss of farm ground in this county. By far the highest of any county in the state. Since then, I bet you it's substantially more than that. Everything indicates it's substantially more than that. If you don't do something now to start preserving the farm ground in this county, you're not going to have any. You got a picture back here. It's the one picture that's left from the last time I was here. Is that really like that anymore? Statistically, it's not. It's a bunch of houses. One of the programs you have available to you by your own code is the purchase of development rights. The purchase of development rights creates the opportunity for farmers to have another commodity, a commodity. That's what we deal with as farmers on a daily basis is commodities. The cost of our grains, the cost of our land, the cost of all kinds of things. By having that commodity available, that farmer that's making that decision to sell to a developer or not, is that my minute warning?
Yep.
Thank you.
No, your time is up.
Oh, it's up? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hanna. After the podium is sanitized, we'll have John Pettit followed by Terry Ballard.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is John Pettit. I live in East Olympia. I happen to know two of you have made it out to the ranch before. Our third one, I'm hoping she'll make it out sometime soon. And whether it happened to be watching your kid running cross country or a friend looking at a sheep or something I might have. But what I'm here for today is to talk about actually several quick issues. I recently, in fact, this afternoon, I'd sent you an email regarding item number 4B on your agenda. And I'm making a strong recommendation that you revise line item 5 on that to remove a date, positive date, which it's inappropriate in any contract to provide a positive date for something that's not legally capable of being done at this time. You may be taking actions in the future, but you may not. So I put in line item 5 to state, an initial transfer of $2 million shall be made from the general fund to the budget stabilization fund shall occur at such time when approved through a budget amendment. It doesn't really change anything, except it's going to make it properly legal. So, a couple other major things which I want to talk about. First, I am going to also mention that I unfortunately watched something today on the video, which I really felt bad for you as a Board of County Commissioners. One of your staff basically told you where you can put it. They had their opinion about what they wanted on a particular issue, about having an employee underneath them instead of underneath the checks and balances of the auditor's office. And basically she shut off. My father was a commissioner here at one time. Some people accused him of having this rather harsh way of looking at things, which is my way or the highway. If somebody's not comfortable communicating with you as commissioners, maybe they need to consider whether this is where they want to work. Maybe they need to go somewhere else. You should be respected. They want to be respected. They should respect you equally. And then it was followed up with your county manager trying to endorse the program that the other person had done. That was inappropriate. So, on to my final little issues. While I could talk about the Veteran Fund, I'm going to save that for a moment. I'm going to share with you that I think that you all understand, I consider myself having been very, very aware of the whole meeting ordinance issue. I've been very tolerant of the slow process. You guys aren't going to be allowed to deal with this meeting ordinance. It's not in your schedule. I was taking a look. You know, today you had 7 minutes to talk about all the important issues you had. Other than that, it was the county manager's agenda. Now, you are provided potentially 1 hour on Thursday to talk about all your issues after you get done with boards and commissions. You guys need to manage your manager and get yourself some time that you can do your business. This other part here, it just doesn't work. There's 2 concepts about government. One is there's the adversarial part or there's the legislative. You're legislative. The way I feel as a citizen, it's adversarial because I have to fight my way through. The last thing I'm going to mention, my time's going to run out, is I wanted you to be able to see, as a citizen, I like to look at the agendas, the minutes. So far, year to date, with all the meetings, which include all meetings that are considered to be regular meetings, because we say work sessions, everything else is regular meeting, or implied that, I've had 3 minutes put on the agenda. 3 for the whole portion of this year. That is not what we call open government. We need to do a lot better, and my tolerance will end very quickly towards the meeting ordinance if we don't have some definite sign of improvement. Thank you.
Terry Ballard, and then we'll go to the Zoom, unless there's somebody else in the boardroom that's joined.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name's Terry Ballard. I'm a retired Master Sergeant of the Army, and I served for over 35 years of military service. Today, I received a narrated version by Mr. Pettit, because I was still a little bit mad, about the Veterans Fund. Let me read you the first line of the Veterans Fund, okay, that this guy wrote. Okay, it says the Public Health and Social Services Department is responsible for administrating this fund, administrating the fund to individual indigent veterans, okay, under the direction of the Thurston County Board of Commissioners, not the Board of Health, not the county manager, under the commissioners and the Veterans Advisory Board. Wow, gee, I have an SOP in line that says that the Veterans Advisory Board belongs to the Health Department, and they have to go through the Health Department before they can talk to commissioners. Well, that's not very good here, okay? That's a lack of government. And also, we're going into it, did this adhere to your ordinance, which was chapter 2.122? Absolutely not. Did it adhere to RCW 73.08? Absolutely not. In 7308, it specifies 7308.10. It specifies that if you decide to have one internally, like the county health department, you have to have these conditions. None of them are met. Okay. Next. Did you approve this SOP? Absolutely not. In it, it conflicts both the code and the ordinance I just suggested. Now, he was having a problem of identifying individual indigent veterans who have honorably served. You have to be an honorably served veteran, okay? Well, this application process that I got off the thing says that I'll have all these required. Well, what they did was give up your legislative authority to have the health department tell that we have a $60,000 free-for-all, and any of the shelters, okay, has to verify that they're an honorably serving veteran. And somehow this is a COVID problem. Really? I never knew government was shut down because of COVID. They're all sitting at home. And I never knew that the guy that resides at the Veterans Hub, who is a service officer like myself, can't provide or get or obtain a DD-214. That is a lie, okay? Here's another public health. You got an agenda, okay? You got an agenda of the next meeting. Well, they had a meeting today about this Veterans Fund. Really? Really? They had a meeting about it yesterday? With what? The advisory board? They're supposed to meet today, 6 o'clock. Also, the chair of the advisory board has already exceeded his terms of service. So everything that, all these meetings that he was a member of, okay? Well, that violates an Open Meetings Act. That's like $500 per incident, and it's $1,000 thereof. So you're going to get a guy that volunteers for the board, okay, to be a member of the board, should be a member of the board because of your ordinance. He has no recognizable veterans, nationally recognized veterans group, which is also required by your code. And I'm just a little tired of all this stuff. The only thing that I'm going to do at this point, I belong to the Veterans Legislative Coalition. That's for the state of Washington. And let me tell you, they're interested in this. And they're going to make you an example. Okay? That's a veterans group that does legislation for the state of Washington for veterans. They are eager for this at all. And every single nationally recognized veterans group is a member of that Veterans Legislative Coalition. I'm not only going to send it to them, I'm going to send it to all of my nationally recognized veterans groups, okay? This is an outrage. This is an
Please wrap her up, sir.
Okay. And closing, how many veterans, homeless veterans, through paying money to the shelters, have we taken off the streets? Do you know? Do you know? No, you don't. Thank you.
That completes the sign-up list that I have. I'm going to let the county manager check the boardroom, check the Zoom, and check the conference call.
Yeah, I don't have anybody else in the room. Sorry. So let me go to Zoom. And I have, first of all, Mr. Doug Carmen. Would you like to provide testimony this afternoon?
I would.
Go ahead, sir. You have 4 minutes.
All right. This is Doug Carmen. I'm the chair of the Long Lake Management District. And I just wanted to thank all you commissioners for the interest you've shown in the lake management districts in the county and looking out to find more and more information about what we do and how we do it. And I looked at the April 15th agenda setting meeting that you had and some of the commissioners had some questions there. I responded with an email yesterday afternoon. I don't know whether you've had time to see it or not, but gave you some answers to those things. And today, though, I would like to encourage you to move forward with signing the contracts for the weed management and algae management of Long Lake and Lake Lawrence. You can see that in the background, the water. It's a picture of my lakefront and as of yesterday afternoon, and you can see how brown it is. The lake is already starting to fill up with algae, and we need to take action. Last year, we were unable to use the lake from about July 15th through the end of the season into September because it smelled like a cesspool and it looked like a mud pit, which it has never, ever done that before. My family, in 8 years from now, my family will have lived on the shores of Long Lake for 100 years. And from hand-me-down information, it's never looked like this, especially here in the spring where it should be fairly clear right now. So we need to move forward with these contracts. We're very fortunate to come up with a process this year for algae treatment, which is economically feasible for us to do. We've been putting money away for the last 2 years to do a project that we thought was going to cost $1.2 million based on what consultants have said. And we have done a lot of research, thanks to Paula Cracknell, in finding other ways to do to take care of the phosphorus in the lake so that we don't have algae. So we're able to do it for under $300,000, which is a significant improvement. So I encourage you to do that, as well as the contract for the weed management. At Long Lake, we don't know whether we'll actually need to address the weeds this year because we did a good job last year, and we have a long-term plan for addressing those weeds so that we don't have to constantly use herbicides in our lake. We're very environmentally sensitive in the sense that my grandchildren are swimming in that lake as well as me, and I want to make sure that it's safe for them. The other thing I would like to offer is that some of us have a lot of history and knowledge on herbicides and lake management that perhaps you might want to take advantage of, either informally or formally in a briefing, to be able to help answer some of the questions that you had and you raised on the 15th of April, and which I'm sure you will continue to have, and other questions will come up. So I appreciate your time, and I appreciate your interest. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next, I have Mr. Matthew Maurer. You have 4 minutes.
Awesome. Hi, thank you, Manager Chavez. My name is Matthew Maurer. I've met a couple of you before, but only via Zoom. I am the new government affairs person for Puget Sound Energy for Kitsap, Thurston, and Lewis counties. And so I've been here for about a month and a half. Recently came from the Lieutenant Governor's office. I was his Director of External Affairs. And so I just wanted to introduce myself. I had a great meeting with Manager Chavez yesterday, and he invited me to come and say hello. At some point, I will ask to come and talk to you about our CEO just recently released a plan called Beyond Net Zero to reach beyond net zero for carbon emissions for PSC by 2045. And so there's a lot of steps along the way, and we're building up some decks now to come and talk to local jurisdictions about our plan to reach beyond net zero by 2045. And so I know, especially given the Earth Day proclamation I witnessed earlier, it's definitely top of mind for a lot of folks. And so we're really eager to get in front of you guys and talk to you about what we're doing to get to that point. And so more on that later, but definitely just wanted to say hello. My name is Matthew Maurer, PSE. I took over, you probably know Kelsey Hulse. She was my predecessor. She has now received a promotion and is our tribal relations manager at PSE. So she's still with us, but I am the new guy. That was it. That's all I wanted to say. Just say hello. I'm looking forward to eventually meeting you all in person at some point. And yeah, thank you for the time.
Thank you, Matthew.
you check the conference call?
Yeah, let me check the conference call. Good afternoon for those members of the public who have joined us via conference call this afternoon. If you would like to provide public testimony, please unmute yourself, state your name, where you reside in the county. You have 4 minutes. None, sir.
Okay, great. Let's move to item 2, County Manager's Update.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. I have 2 items for you today. And the first item, I'll give the floor to Robin Campbell, the Assistant County Manager, to introduce this item, this
Thank
update.
you. Thank you, Romero. Actually, I have 2 items today. The first is I'm pleased to report that the county has received an issuer comment from Moody's Investor Services. Moody's ranks our bond rating, as does Standard & Poor's. Moody's has affirmed the county's AA2 rating, which according to them is a very high quality credit rating. Key factors include a robust financial position, strong wealth and income profile in the county, and an exceptionally light debt burden. This is very important to the county because much like personal credit scores, the higher our rating, the lower our interest rates will be when we issue bonds. And you'll hear in a little bit about the savings that we're going to get from an upcoming bond issue. Any questions or comments from the board about that?
No comments from us. I mean,
No, ma'am.
that's great too.
Yeah. Just glad to hear it.
Good job to the whole county's finance arm. The second thing that I would like to report on is that for the 4th year in a row, the Thurston County fleet has ranked in the top 100 fleets in the Americas. Fleets in both North and South America are scored in the areas of accountability, use of technology and information, collaboration, creativity, performance, and evidence of a high trust culture. So I would just like to congratulate our fleet manager, Bruce Rohrbaugh, and the entire fleet team on this achievement.
Thank you, Robin. Any questions on those items from the board?
For the fleet, it got rated in the 100 best. Do we know which one specific, or is it just?
We ranked number 70 this year out of 100, the top 100. I don't know how many applications they received, but if you think of all of the fleets in North and South America, and I think I only saw one other Washington State county on the list, that was King County. I'd say we're doing pretty good.
I have to say something about that, Chair.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Okay, I understand you're saying something about in North and South America. That puts us in some kind of a category with Venezuela or something, I suppose. Is that right? Boy, that's not saying much, is all I can say. If we're being lined up against a communist operation, I got to comment on it. I don't think that's the place we want to be.
I'm very proud to report that it's in all of the United States, Canada, Mexico, and South America. I'd say that it is an excellent achievement, and congratulations to the staff.
I wouldn't mind comparing ourselves to Brazil and Canada and even Mexico, but boy, that's about as far as I can go right now. To claim we're doing well, I'm sorry.
Okay. Let's move to the consent agenda. We have just one item.
I have one additional item, Commissioner.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
Yep, sorry. This can take a couple minutes. And this is related to the comments we have received for months, starting last year, related to the use of the Veterans Fund, and you heard some testimony from Mr. Terry Ballard today as well. So you may recall a few months ago, I committed I will be asking the Internal Audit Committee, which is formed by the county auditor, the county treasurer, and the county manager, to have this particular audit of the Veterans Fund to be part of the work plan for the internal auditor. The internal auditor reports to the Internal Audit Committee, and that is one of the positions we have developed over the last few years, just to make sure there is an independent review of all the internal practices that we have here in the county. So the internal auditor completed his report. He submitted to me that yesterday. I briefed you this morning. So I'm going to walk you a little more in detail what I did this morning, just to the benefit of the public. The internal audit performed a review of expenditures charged of the Veterans Fund, and this is according to RCW 73.08 for the most part, as well as 7304 in many sections within the RCW. The review occurred during the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021. Internal controls were evaluated to ensure funds were safeguarded and expended in accordance with the fund policy as well as the RCWs. A judgment sample of 2020 transactions were reviewed for eligibility. These transactions included individual assistance payments made on behalf of the eligible beneficiaries, payment to Catholic Community Services for emergency shelter services, and at least cost to the Veterans Hub facility, which is in partnership with the city of Lacey. Those were the two main focus of these transactions. So some of the review, the results on the authority RCW 7308-035, the Veterans Advisory Board provides guidance to the Thurston Board of County Commissioners to the use of Veterans Assistance Fund. The Veterans Assistance Program staff meet regularly with the advisory board on a quarterly basis to provide program updates and review any potential modifications to the program and or eligibility. Recent changes approved by the advisory board includes increasing the annual assistance cap, the suspension of 2-year limit on benefit during the declared emergency, and the recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners, which the board approved, which raised the poverty level from 150 to 200%. The Veterans Assistance Fund is supported by an allocation of property taxes collected annually. In 2020, the amount allocated to the Veterans Assistance Fund was approximately $430,000. The amount collected is one of the 8 cents of the $1,000 assessed value, or a 0.01125% of the property tax collected in the county. Total expenditures in 2020 were about $166,000. So if you do a quick math, there is a significant ending fund balance, and that ending fund balance is to remain on the Veterans Assistance Fund to meet the intended purposes. The ending fund balance is not redirected to fund any of other government functions, Thurston County government functions. So the RCW provides, in a way, 3 ways of eligible veterans. One is currently receiving one or more of the following types of assistance: the temporary assistance for needy families, age, blind, or disabled benefits, pregnant women assistance benefits, poverty-rated veterans benefit, food stamps, refugee resettlements benefits, Medicaid, medical care services, and supplemental house security. Number 2, receiving annual income after taxes of up to 150% or less of the current federally established poverty level. And this is established by the Housing and Urban Development. As I stated before, the Board of County Commissioners include this income to raise to 200% to allow the veterans to get access to this program. And number 3 is unable to pay reasonable costs for shelter, food, utilities, and transactions because of his or her available funds are insufficient. So we look at, again, the emergency shelter and the Catholic Community Service contracts that we have, and we pay a daily rate of $45 of eligible veteran. with an annual cost of not to exceed $49,275. Also, we look at the Veterans Hub and the contributions the county have with the city of Lacey to this particular hub, which began and started in 2017. These services include the county-operated Veterans the Veterans Hub, Veterans Assistance Program, as well as other services such as housing, nutrition, employment, education, disability, and legal services, to name a few. Thurston County, through a new local agreement, contributes $30,000 towards the cost of operating the hub. This $30,000 is specifically designated to cover the cost of leasing the building. The overall City of Lacey's operating budget cost for the Veterans Hub in 2020 is $143,000. So our contribution is just about 21% of the total operating cost. While the hub serves individuals that may not qualify for assistance under the Veterans Assistance Fund, many of the individuals obtaining assistance at the Veterans Hub will be eligible based on their veteran status and income as compared to the 200% threshold. Of these individuals that receive assistance on the hub is 46% and as low as 33%, way above the 21% contribution the county has on the Veterans Hub. So let me read the conclusion of this report. Based on review of the qualifying criteria for individual assistance, emergency shelter services, and the population of the Veterans Hub, county expenditures from the Veterans Assistance Fund are in compliance with applicable RCW and the fund policy. Additionally, the county has established reasonable controls to ensure that expenditures for assistance payments in shelter services are only paid out on behalf of eligible individuals, in this case veterans. While it is not practical to perform eligibility reviews for individuals accessing the Veterans Hub, fund payments are at the level where the county can have confidence as they are in compliance with eligibility requirements as established for the many RCWs as well as the fund policy. The conclusion further states, while no significant control deficiencies were identified during the course of this review, opportunities exist to improve program operations. These observations and recommendations have been addressed on a report to the Public Health and Social Services Director, and also is entitled on the packet they have included to you. I just want to circle back on the my task and my assignment to have an internal audit to the Veterans Fund, and this report is available to the public upon request. Thank you.
Questions for the county manager on this report? I know we had, we addressed it a little bit this morning, but Commissioner Mejia, anything further?
Yes, so I'm just, Ramiro, could you clarify for me what's the consent item that we're going to pass to just post this on to a public forum, or what? Is there a specific action that?
No action. This is just my report to you as a result of some of the comments that we have received over the last few months related to the Veterans Fund.
Thank you.
Yeah, no action is required for you today.
Okay.
I got ahead of myself and announced consent agenda, but that was
okay.
out of tune.
Okay, those two words crossed in my head, and okay, thank you.
Commissioner Edwards.
Yes, sir. I just want to clarify something with the county manager. You said this report is available to the public upon request.
Yeah.
Is there any reason it wouldn't just be posted with our normal activities so someone could look it up and
actually
without having to request?
Yes, thank you. It is posted this morning when you have reviewed your agenda. So it's posted to the public as part of that.
Okay, thank you for that.
So what I'm asking, if somebody wants a paper copy or any specific copies, please send me an email.
Yes, but they can view it if they want.
It is available as part of your agenda this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, that was all, sir.
Okay, very good. Let's go to our, is that it, Ramiro? For the
yes, sir, thank you.
Okay, let's go to the consent agenda. There's only one item. Is there a motion regarding consent items?
Yes, I would move to approve consent item A, and that is the voucher list for the week of April 5th, 2021, for a combined amount of $544,446.07.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, department items. We have 4A, resolution for biennial budget type. Robin Campbell is our designated person to introduce this item.
Thank you, Commissioner. Robin Campbell, Assistant County Manager. And this afternoon, I am requesting that the board approve the resolution in accordance with the RCW 3640-250, which allows counties to adopt a resolution that provides for a biennial budget. The law requires a midterm adjustment and allows for amendments in accordance with Chapter 3640 RCW. This resolution addresses all of these things and establishes the biennial budget beginning in 2022. The county had been doing biennial budgets, but this year, to preserve flexibility in your budget, you chose to adopt an annual budget. So to start the process again for biennial, at your direction, I have brought this resolution forward. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioner Mejia, any questions on this?
No questions on this. I think this has been an issue that's been widely discussed.
Commissioner Edwards?
No questions at this time, sir. I'm prepared to make a motion for purposes of discussion.
I'm ready.
I would move to approve the resolution adopting the biennial budget type for 2022 and 2023.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Further discussion?
Yes, this is of concern to me because we changed from biennial to annual in 2020 when the virus came about, and we're a long ways from being over this virus. So because of that, I am concerned there's a lot of unknown out there. We don't know exactly what is coming from day to day, whether it's something of major consequence or just we're going to wear a mask forever. We don't know the answer to some of those things. So I am just not comfortable with switching back from annual. So that's my position on that. Thank you very much.
Okay, any further discussion?
No, sir. I mean, there was a survey that got sent out to the departments and also the elected officials. This was a conversation we had with all of them in regards to this, and it was the view from the majority of them that a biennial was the way to go forward. It had a lot of benefits over, I guess, the cons. So just from hearing from them was very insightful for me, and so I think we should move forward.
Okay. I guess I would just say that my intent when we did the single year budget was to only do it for 1 year. So this to me is just a following through on what my position was. I certainly was open to changing my mind, but nothing. I thought when we did the single year that the budget was maybe about to go down a black hole, and what we've learned, certainly there's some uncertainty out there. I certainly acknowledge what Commissioner Edwards is saying, but it doesn't look like the uncertainty is leading toward a budget abyss in the way that it was looking in the spring of 2020. So I'm comfortable with the direction that I had for myself, which was to do a single year for a year and then go back to what is accepted as a better budgeting practice for biennial budgeting. Simultaneously, accomplishing the goal of getting it off the commissioner election cycle, which everybody seemed to support, and I think will be a nice benefit of the of what we did last year. So for those reasons, I'm supporting this. There's no further discussion. I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nay.
Nay.
Okay, that motion passes 2-1. That brings us to 4B, the General Fund Balance and Budget Stabilization Fund. Back to Assistant County Manager Robin King.
Thank you, Commissioner. This resolution supports the financial health of Thurston County. It does three things. It sets a minimum balance of $12 million in the general fund to support cash flow needs. It sets a goal of a 2-month fund balance in the general fund in accordance with best practices in financial management. And the resolution includes guidelines on when the county would drop below that 2-month fund balance and how we would recover from it. The third thing this resolution does is to establish a budget stabilization account. Those are also known as rainy day funds. That account would have an initial deposit of $2 million, and there is a plan to take windfall revenue in each of the future years up to a maximum balance in the stabilization account of $5 million. Withdrawal would be by unanimous vote for emergencies in response to actions by the state legislature that will cost the county money, and if necessary, to support the general fund in an economic crisis. This resolution accomplishes one of the long-term strategies in the Thurston County Strategic Plan, Initiative 15, of diversifying county revenues to guard against economic cycles. And it is a huge financial accomplishment for the county. I would say that earlier Mr. Pettit made a recommendation that we change item 5 in the resolution, number 5 on page 2, to read that the initial transfer shall be made upon authorization in a budget. At the time this resolution was drafted and approved by our attorneys, we anticipated having a budget amendment by May 31st, but recognizing that that may not happen, I appreciate Mr. Pettit's suggestion and recommend to the board to make that change before you adopt the resolution.
Would we need to make an amendment at this juncture to that? The resolution is not before us. There's a motion to approve a resolution. Obviously, we have a draft of that resolution, but would we need to specify in this legislative action that that change is going to be made?
I think so, but I'm going to ask the county manager to weigh in on that question.
My suggestion is you approve a resolution establishing this fund, but I think it will be helpful during your discussion that your intent is to change that portion of the resolution without having a formal amendment. So when you see the resolution for your signature, we'll include that change.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? I'll start with Commissioner Mejia.
No questions.
Commissioner Edwards.
Yes, I do. I guess I would like to have clarification on what the county manager just said to make sure it's done right. Again, I was going to make a motion so I could continue discussion on this particular issue because I do have some concerns. So I'm not sure about the motion that I would make to continue that discussion. I'm a little bit concerning that we get it right. I see we don't have legal counsel here. I just want to get it right for whatever we do. So whether I support it or not, I still want it to be done right. So do you have some verbiage in mind, or?
No, I guess what I'm trying to clarify is to what you would like to do. You would like to delay this item?
Well, I have a concern about the item having to do with the road fund and the shortage thereof, that we're going to transfer some funds. And, you know, my preference, it's going to be I respect my seatmate's position. We've had some initial discussion about this, and I just want to make it right. Whatever we move forward, whether I win or lose the vote, doesn't matter. I want to get it right. So I'm not sure about your suggestion.
So when you introduce the motion, you will have a second, you get into the discussion. At that point, you will have a conversation to entertain changing that piece of the resolution that Mr. Pettit provided this morning.
Okay.
And the language states, as provided by Mr. Pettit this morning, and I read it out loud, on item 5 of the resolution, an initial transfer of $2 million shall be made from the general fund to the budget stabilization fund shall occur at such time when approved through a budget amendment. That's the proposal.
Okay, well, I'm kind of locking myself in then. I don't mind making a motion for discussion, but Chair, are you in a position that if I make this motion and we follow through, that you would be able to make that adjustment?
Yeah, I'll make an amendment. I mean, there's no reason,
Okay.
I don't think it's not going to hurt anything if we formally amend.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
That makes everybody more comfortable.
Okay, are you prepared for a motion, sir?
Sure.
Okay, let's see if we get this right. For the purposes of discussion, I would move to approve the resolution setting a minimum fund balance for the general fund and establishing a budget stabilization fund.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We'll go to discussion on the motion. And then at the appropriate time, I may make move for an amendment, but let's open to discussion if there's any further discussion. Commissioner Mejia kind of weighed in. Commissioner Edwards, did you have something you wanted to say further?
Yes, sir, I do.
Go ahead.
We had a briefing last week by the road department, and basically it laid out that we're about $3 million short in upcoming road maintenance. And this has been building for quite a period of time now. We have done levy shifts and road diversion to the general fund over a number of years now. And we find ourselves in a little better shape right now. And I believe it would be a better expenditure if we replaced that money into the road fund so we could do adequate road maintenance at this point in time, because every time we don't fix something, it gets worse expeditiously, I guess, is about the best way I can put it. And I hate to put it off any more than we absolutely have to. So because of that, I'm concerned about putting this in a rainy day fund. I want to put it into the road fund where we can get our roads up to snuff, because there's quite a few of them during that presentation last week that needed some repair. And I see this as an opportunity to do so and still benefit from this extra fund. So I'll just end that position, sir, because we've had quite a bit of discussion on this topic earlier for those citizens that are interested in it, that they could review some of our meetings. So that'll be my comment, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to make a motion to amend the underlying motion to include the amended language suggested by Robin, suggested by Mr. Pettit, recommended by our Thurston County manager into the appropriate place in the resolution that comes forward for board signature. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
That's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on that amendment only?
Can I just make a general comment?
Yes.
So I see Commissioner Edwards' points. For me, this is just a one-time transfer because we have the additional funds to be able to do this. We might be able to do this later in the future, and if something happens like last year where we're in a tight situation, we will need this funds, and this is just a safety net for the county, really. And these past years, there's been a diversion on the road fund, which has been unfortunate, but I believe what we need to do is make sure there's no diversion off the road fund this budget cycle going forward. I believe we might have enough to, Robin made a suggestion this morning of the ability to do both, do the rainy day fund and put that money back from diversion into, that we diverted from the road fund. So I think this is a good way to go. I would like to thank Mr. Pettit for his amendment, and I'm ready to move forward.
Okay, I didn't stop you, but that sounded like more debate on the underlying motion. So just on this amendment that I made, proposed amendment, I'm going to call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
No.
Nay.
So one opposed, 2-1?
Yes, sir. That's right.
So the amendment passes, and now we have the underlying motion as amended with the additional adjustment. Commissioner Mejia, I took your comments just now to sort of be speaking to that overall motion. Did you have anything else for discussion on now the amended motion?
No, I don't have anything else to add.
And Commissioner Edwards, anything? Beyond what? Yeah.
I guess the only thing I'll comment on is in a future year, possibly we can come up with some funding mechanism. I believe the money has been used in the past for parks and law enforcement, if I remember right. And I'm hoping we can look into that at a future move. Thank you very much. That'll be my conclusion of my comment.
Okay, and then I would like to comment on the amended motion. Really thrilled to hear my seatmates wanting to work with me on ramping down out of the road fund diversion and levy shift, which was instituted before I came on the board. Very, very excited about these, what Robin characterized as a huge financial accomplishment for the county, because this was one of my very top priorities as a commissioner, was to put these types of, operating at a $10 million, red line cash flow basis made me very uneasy, and it made a lot of people in our county uneasy, citizens in our county uneasy. So I think this is just kind of in line with best financial practices. I've had the opportunity to work not only as a county commissioner in the last 2+ years, but as a board member on a whole bunch of other organizations in our community, like LOT, like Intercity Transit, like Joint Animal Services, like the Behavioral Health Organization. Almost every one of these Orca Clean Air Agency, all of these organizations, multi-million-dollar budgets, have these types of policies in place. And so I'm glad to see that we're stepping up and getting ourselves into a more resilient and sort of well-planned position. And I think with the commitment that I've heard today, we absolutely will work on our road fund and our county roads, because I'm hearing a commitment from all 3 commissioners to do that. So that'll be exciting as well. So with that, I will call for a vote on the amended motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed?
Nay.
That motion carries 2-1. And that will bring us to item 4C, bond resolution for refunds and major information technology systems. No one can say we're not addressing major items today on our agenda.
Yeah, who knew finance stuff could be so exciting? So this afternoon, I am requesting that the board approve a bond resolution that authorizes the issuance of $19 million in general obligation bonds. The meaning of general obligation is that the county will pay with appropriate resources without the need to increase the property tax levy. These are general obligations on the credit of the county. So we are proposing an issuance of $19 million. $6.7 million of the proceeds will be used to fund our large IT system replacement costs, specifically for the ERP, which is a finance and personnel system, and a permit system. And 12.3 million of the refund, or rather of the proceeds, will be used to refund current debt, which is a government way of saying that we're going to refinance the bonds that are currently outstanding, some of our county bonds. The refund will actually save the county money because we will have a lower interest rate than the rate that we got when the bonds were first issued. We will save approximately $878,000 over the course of the next 10 years. This resolution also delegates to the assistant county manager, me, the authority to complete the appropriate documents to have the bonds issued. And I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you have about this motion.
Commissioner Mejia.
No questions.
Commissioner Edwards.
Yes, sir. Robin, the payoff date it's not going to get extended, is that right?
That is correct. We will pay these bonds off in the same time as we would if we did not refund them. So for example, one of the bonds that we're paying off will be paid off in about 18 months. And it would be paid off if we didn't do the refund. It will be paid off if we do. The other is 10 years out.
And because we are doing the refi or the refund, we're getting a better interest rate, thus the taxpayers are coming out ahead. Is that correct?
That is exactly right, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
John, what did you say the number of that's going toward the refinancing or I forget the word.
The new rate?
How much of this amount is going toward the thing that we're doing?
12.3 million is going to the refund and up to 6.7 million for our IT systems.
I know you are not the point person on the permitting system and every single piece of the IT system, but just for the public, since they may not have seen this issue before, can you just explain what the issue is with the permitting system
Our current permitting system is quite dated, and it does not do the modern things that people today expect to be able to do when they conduct business with the county. So these are land use and building permits. People would love to be able to complete and submit them online. We've been talking about the possibility of doing remote inspections. There are a lot of things that our current system, which by the way, fails on a somewhat regular basis, which delays many things, but our current system is not capable of. And this system will, the new system will be able to do all the modern things that people expect to be able to do today.
I see Dennis and Brian from our IT group are here. And I guess that's the point. Dennis, maybe you could pipe in, because the point I wanted to make, and Robin, you made it, but just give Dennis a chance too, is that it's always great to upgrade to, a Cadillac with bells and whistles, but that's not really the motivator here. The motivator is our system. We're dealing with a broken down Yugo or whatever, I mean, that's just not services. So I want to make that point that we're dealing with an extremely antiquated system that is just not adequate. And that's what's driving this kind of a major upgrade. Could you elaborate on that just a bit?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Dennis Osorio, IT Director. It is exactly what you said. Our permitting system is well past the end of life. We're on extended support and we're barely on that. So it's not only obviously getting all the new functionalities that we wouldn't have with our current system, but there's other issues when you have an outdated system, such as security, reliability, quality. So just replacing this, it gets us up to the current level, as well as increasing the customer experience, but also really closing a lot of gaps that we're having right now with our current system.
And this was talked about the day I entered office. I heard about what how long overdue this was, and here I am in my third year in office, and we're finally getting this going. It just kind of shows people what the time it takes to get these really major things done, because we want to dot every I and cross every T. So, Dennis, Brian, thank you guys for being here. Anything else from the board before I ask for a motion on this?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I guess I just want to clarify with Robin. You said so we can get the remote inspection process up and running. I just want to make sure I get this right. It's my understanding we've got that up and running, but what this is going to do is be able to enhance and expand that remote inspection process. Is that right?
Yeah, that is correct, sir.
Yes. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much, sir. That's good.
Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
I would move to approve the resolution providing for the issuance of limited tax general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $19 million to provide the funds necessary to refund current bonds and purchase majority information technology systems, and authorize the Assistant County Manager as the designated representative to approve the final terms.
Second.
Reading the motion is to purchase major information technology system, no majority, as you stated.
Say that again, sir.
You stated on your motion is to refund current bonds in purchase majority. It should be major information technology systems.
I said majority?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me get this straight. Now I want to make sure we get it straight. Okay, I'm reading this, and instead of.
Can you restate the motion, please?
Okay. As here, or do I need to make?
No, like right here, like it is in front of you. Yeah.
Okay. I would move to approve the resolution providing for the issuance of limited tax general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $19 million to provide the funds necessary to refund current bonds and purchase major information technology systems, and authorize the Assistant County Manager as the designated representative to approve the final terms.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
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 The motion carried unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
And we've got IT on board for item 5A, permit tracking system professional services agreement.
Good afternoon, Dennis Osorio, IT Director. So as we stated, Thurston County is looking to procure a new modern permit tracking program to replace our aged Amanda system. The project stakeholders, which include IT, public health, CPED, and Public Works, are proposing utilizing an outside consultant to help with the selection of the permit, of the new permit management by assisting with determining needs, gathering requirements, developing a request for proposal, RFP, and evaluating all the responses from vendors. We've used this very similar approach with the ERP RFP development. Sorry for all the acronyms. There's a lot of them in there. And we used GFOA for this, and it proved to be very valuable for the county as having a third party assist us in this process. The consulting firm that we're looking to use is Soft Resources Consulting. It has been identified as a company that specializes in assisting local governments with permit system selection. The stakeholder team, which was made up of the 4 departments, interviewed 4 different jurisdictions, 2 within the state and 2 without, each jurisdiction giving positive and consistent reviews of the consultant, and they provided extensive value. The stakeholders are seeking board approval for waiving competitive bidding and allowing IT to enter into a professional services contract with Soft Resources Consulting for services of $108,562, with any amendments to not exceed 10%. The cost of the contract will be paid by each of the departments, as well as some of the bond issuance that we just spoke about. And the project supports County Strategic Initiative 17, making strategic investments in information technology systems and infrastructure.
Questions from the board on this item?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. We've had extensive discussion on this at previous agenda settings. I would entertain a motion.
And I would just like to point out prior to my motion that for those people that are interested in this, we've had many discussions in work sessions that have led up to this. So that's probably why we don't have questions at this point in time. I would move to waive competitive bidding requirements and approve the professional services contract with Soft Resources Consulting for $108,562 for a 1-year term, and authorize the Information Technology Director to execute the contract and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move to item 6, Public Health and Social Services. Let's move on to launching a transformative criminal justice program. We have Marianne O'Gara here.
Yes.
I'll let the county manager introduce this item.
Thank you, commissioners. For your consideration is to authorize the issuance of request for proposals to secure services to start implementing the pilot project, also in the Thurston County lead, that will be the Law Enforcement Assistant Diversion Program. And Marianne O'Gara is the one who has been helping us to carry along this particular issue, and at this time, we're ready for you to consider start implementing the pilot project by this issuance of the request for proposals. Marianne?
Thank you very much for having me today to bring this forward. The Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion Program is a partnership of many agencies across Thurston County. The purpose of the LEAD program, as we refer to it, is to provide law enforcement across Thurston County with a new option, an additional option that they can choose, which is to refer adults suspected of low-level offenses to services and support rather than arrest and incarceration. And with that, it is an option for them. They can voluntarily choose to refer someone to the program. And individuals who are referred to that program can voluntarily choose to participate in that program, which indicates a level of readiness for change and support. And in order to provide that program, what we have before you today is a request to issue a request for proposals, an RFP, that would provide some critical support to that particular program, which is in the form of program management services and case management services. And program management services support the implementation of the program, community education about the program, supporting the advisory board, a partnership that is critical to operating the program, as well as seeking and sustaining funding for the program. and the case management services for the program, which provides the case managers, the clinical supervisor, the outreach coordinator, that provides the direct services to the individuals that choose to participate in the program. With that in mind, we have before you that request, and we're hopeful that that is something that you would allow us to issue to the community and see who all is interested in providing those services for us.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Commissioner here?
No, sir. I think this is another topic that we've thoroughly discussed.
Commissioner Edwards?
No, sir. Lots of discussion prior to this. Thank you.
Okay, very good. I request a motion.
I would move to authorize the Public Health and Social Services Director to issue a request for proposals for the Thurston County LEAD, that's Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion, Case Management, and Program Management Services.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Welcome, thank you, Marianne. 6B, also under Public Health and Social Services, is a request for proposals for scattered site pilot project. I see Tom Webster's here. I'll turn to the county manager.
Thank you, sir. This particular proposal also is related to a request for proposals for you to authorize the issuance related to yet another pilot project. This pilot project is related to a scattered site and mainly related to start managing the RV parking that we have on the inside road and other locations. A lot of discussion on this, has a lot of history that goes back to last year when at some point we were looking to address the issue of the RV parking on a consolidated site. That just didn't materialize in terms of cost, time, and effort. And as a result, this is an alternative as to how we need to manage this particular issue. There is the reason to have a pilot project is to see how the effectiveness of this project will work to address the RV parking. And there's going to be some performance indicators whether we'd like to continue with this project or not in the long term. Tom is here to give additional perspective on this item.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Tom Webster with Public Health and Social Services. So that's an excellent summary from the County Manager. I would just add that this is what we're asking for as a contractor. We're looking for proposals to provide the case management and site governance services to 3 sites that we're implementing this pilot project. There's a separate component of this project, which would be providing the garbage services, the hygiene services, and other related site services. We'll be providing through a separate, we intend to bring something to you for the City of Olympia to provide those services. So this request for proposal is specifically to procure the case management services from a contractor to support residents living at these sites, to connect them to services, and try to get them connected to permanent housing options. And happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions for Tom? Commissioner here?
No, sir.
Commissioner Edwards?
No, sir. Again, lots of discussion leading up to this.
Same with me. We've had many discussions and even got a newspaper article written about our discussions. And I've toured the sites and talked to residents and gone through the details. So I think we're ready to go at this point. I'd entertain a motion on this.
I would move to authorize Public Health and Social Services to issue a request for proposals for a contractor to provide site governance and case management services to persons experiencing homelessness in at least 3 unsanctioned encampments or areas where persons are living in vehicles.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. No motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
All right. Item 7, Public Works. 7A, execute master interlocal agreement with Lot Clean Water Alliance for roadway and utility activities. Tim Wilson, our Water Resources Manager, is here. County Manager, please set us up.
Thank you, Commissioner. This particular item is related to a interagency cooperation agreement. And this particular agreement is with the LOT, the Clean Water Alliance, in Thurston County, particularly Public Works. We have other interagency cooperation agreements with the cities, particularly as to how we share resources to accomplish some of the work that we need to do. This is a good practice, I believe, in order to make sure that we cooperate, first of all, and secondly, we make the best out of the resources that we have on both jurisdictions. In this case, this is a lot in Thurston County. This is a renewal. I know they execute the new master agreement, but we have already had a similar agreement in the past that just lapsed with LOT. Tim?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Tim Wilson, Water Resources Manager. Great summary. This is an insurance policy, if you will. It's part of our contingency plan for providing non-interruptible sewer service. It is in effect, a mutual aid agreement. As Ramiro mentioned, we've had previous such agreements that have expired, and so we are looking to renew it with LOT. So it allows for up to $100,000 per year, and it is work order based. So if there is a need, we would, the county manager would issue a work order soliciting LOT's help, or vice versa. So with that, staff is recommending that the board move to execute the master interlocal agreement between LOT Clean Water Alliance and Thurston County, and authorize the county manager to sign individual task orders for specific items of work as identified in the agreement. And with that, I would answer any questions that you may have.
Questions for Tim?
No questions.
Tim, could you just clarify? I don't think there's any intention to spend any of the county's resources at this point in time, but if something should develop down the road, a disaster, a earthquake, I don't know what it might be, but is that right?
That's exactly right. In my time at the county, I don't believe this has ever been used. Again, it's more of an insurance policy, and recognizing that LOT has specialized personnel, specialized equipment that in an emergency or unforeseen circumstance we could utilize.
Yeah, and maybe just one more quick thing. Robin, are there resources set aside to do this, or we would take the resources from elsewhere if something happened?
For LOT?
No, for spending, if this whole $100,000 cash thing, if we even received or spent, I mean, everything is, we don't have anything in the bank, or there's nothing lined out for this at this point, is there? It's just a kind of a contingency plan with a dollar amount on it?
Yeah.
Is that it?
I'm very sorry, Commissioner, I'm not following.
Well, I'm getting a head shake
Yeah,
from the county manager.
that is correct. This is not a specific item. This sets this is an instrument to have the corporation, if we need to, and has a cap of those task orders of 100,000. Doesn't mean that we're going to be spending it all. It's just give us that cap of $100,000, and having this agreement in place allows to freely cooperate with LOT. Absent this agreement, if the need arises, we'll have to come back with every single item before the board. And that's really what it is.
Just clarifying that for the public. Thank you, sir.
Okay. I don't have anything. Is there a motion then?
Yes, sir. I would move to execute the master interlocal agreement between Lot Clean Water Alliance and Thurston County and authorize the county manager to sign individual task orders for specific items of work as identified in the agreement.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Item 7B, professional services contract for Lake Lawrence Submerged Aquatic Vegetation Control.
Yeah, Commissioners, the next three items, item 7B, C, and D, are related to the same contract to provide services for treat some of the algae and vegetation on both Lake Lawrence and Long Lake. This is the result of a request bid process that we issued. So Paula Cracknell will walk you through each of those items as opposed to me to elaborate. Also, these three items have been a source of a great deal of discussion, I believe, including this morning. So Paula.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Paula Cracknell, Aquatic Resource Specialist at Thurston County Public Works. On April 1st, 2021, a total of 2 proposals were received by companies specializing in aquatic pesticide applications to perform submerged aquatic vegetation control for the Lake Lawrence Management District. These proposals were received in response to the request for proposals advertised on March 18, 2021 in the Olympian and posted to the Thurston County Public Works RFP, RFQ, RFS opportunities webpage. Public Works evaluated and scored the proposals based on the contractor's qualifications, experience, field and data recording expertise, and reasonable cost estimates. The highest ranking proposal was received from Aquatechnics LLC of Bellingham, Washington. The cost estimates provided in this proposal are reasonable and within the approved budget for the 2021 herbicide applications for Lake Lawrence. This contract will provide for planning and implementing aquatic vegetation control using herbicides applied following Thurston County's Integrated Pest Management Program policy, and will follow the guidelines for the Washington State Department of Ecology's Aquatic Plant and Algae Management Permit, which Thurston County manages and maintains. The herbicide applications will reduce excess vegetation, including noxious weeds, which negatively impact water quality and reduce recreational opportunities on Lake Lawrence. Herbicide application projects and treatment areas are determined by county staff and LMD steering committee volunteers who work in a partnership to complete work plans that improve and preserve the health of Lake Lawrence. This action is in alignment with the county's strategic plan Initiative 9 to support environmental health and climate stabilization. And the recommended action is to move to approve the professional services contract with Aquatechnics in the amount of $62,500 and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Questions from Commissioner Mejia for Paula?
No follow-up. I think this next three items have been items that we've thoroughly discussed as well. I want to thank the staff for your work on this, but also the LMDs for your comments on this. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards?
No, I'm prepared for a motion, sir.
Okay, I'll just say, kind of as to the next three items, I'll just make a general comment. I'm learning a lot about this area. It's a difficult area. County practices have changed, I've learned recently, which means there are alternative approaches. And I want to learn more about those alternative approaches. I can let the public know that I will intend to support in the long term the least hazardous or toxic prescription that can meet the needs, minimum vegetation management needs of our lakes. And once I figure out what that is, that's what I'll be supporting. But at this point, I'm learning more. We have a time issue and we have issues. You can see Mr. Carmen's background there. We want to try to help clear that up for him. The Long Lake and Lawrence Lake folks are really active and engaged, and I appreciate their input. Representatives from both of those lake management districts provided me very helpful information over the last week. So, so with that, we are where we are, and I'm prepared to hear a motion on item 7B.
Yes, sir. I would move to approve the professional services contract with Aquatic LLC of Bellingham, Washington in the amount of $62,500 and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on 7B?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. Let's go to item 7C, which is a professional services contract for Long Lake Submerged Aquatic Vegetation Control. And we're back to Paula.
Likewise, on April 1st, 2021, a total of 2 proposals were received by companies specializing in aquatic pesticide applications to perform the submerged aquatic vegetation control for the Long Lake Management District. These contracts went under a review process where they were scored based on the contractor's qualifications, experience, field and data recording expertise, and cost estimates. The highest ranking proposal was received from Aquatic of Bellingham, Washington. The cost estimates provided in this proposal are reasonable and within the approved budget for the 2021 herbicide applications for Long Lake. Likewise, this contract will provide for planning and implementing aquatic vegetation control using herbicides following Thurston County's Integrated Pest Management Program and the guidelines in the Washington State Department of Ecology APAM permit. This herbicide application will reduce excess vegetation if a treatment is planned, including noxious weeds, which negatively impact water quality. This action is also in alignment with the county's Strategic Plan Initiative 9 to support environmental health and climate stabilization, and the recommended action is to move to approve the professional services contract to Aquatic LLC of Bellingham, Washington in the amount of $120,000 and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Is there a motion on 7B, 7C, or questions for Paula?
No questions, and I'm prepared for a motion.
I'm ready.
I would move to approve the professional services contract to Aquatic LLC of Bellingham, Washington in the amount of $120,000 and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried unanimously. Brings us to 7D, professional services contract for Long Lake algae control.
Yes, Commissioners, on April 1st, 2021, a total of 2 proposals were received from companies specializing in aquatic algae management to perform phosphorus mitigation for algae control in the Long Lake Management District. These proposals were received in response to the request for proposals advertised on March 18th, 2021 in the Olympian and posted to the Thurston County Public Works RFP, RFQ, RFS Opportunities webpage. Public Works evaluated and scored the proposals based on the contractor's qualifications, experience, field and data recording expertise, and reasonable cost estimates. The highest ranking proposal was received from Aquatic LLC of Bellingham, Washington. The cost estimates provided in this proposal are reasonable for treatment and mitigation to move Long Lake in the direction of long-term algae control. The LMD has an adequate fund balance to cover these expenditures. However, a 2021 budget expenditure authority to cover the cost for this treatment up to $240,000 will require a budget amendment. A budget amendment will be submitted to the BoCC in May 2021 to cover the cost of these services. This contract will provide for planning and implementing phosphorus mitigation for algae control using aluminum sulfate and Phoslock, 2 products that sequester available phosphorus in lake systems and thus slow the growth of algae and cyanobacteria. The applications of these products follow the guidelines in the Washington State Department of Ecology Aquatic Plant and Algae Management Permit, which Thurston County manages and maintains. The treatments will reduce the growth of algae and cyanobacteria, which negatively impact water quality, pose a risk to public health, and reduce recreational opportunities on the lake. The phosphorus mitigation projects in treatment areas are determined by county staff and LMD steering committee volunteers who work in a partnership to complete work plans that improve and preserve the health of Long Lake. This action is in alignment with the county's Strategic Plan Initiative 9 to support environmental health and climate stabilization. The recommended action is to move to approve the professional services contract with Aquatic LLC of Bellingham in the amount of $240,000 and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract that does not exceed 10%.
Commissioner Mejia, questions?
No, thank you.
Commissioner Edwards?
No, sir.
Paul, I don't think maybe this is a Robin question. I didn't quite catch the budget amendment part of this that you provided.
Right. Long Lake currently has a budget amendment in process to move the funds into the professional services fund to cover the costs. The LND has adequate finances to support this. We just need to move the funds from one to another.
Gotcha. Thank you. Okay. Is there a motion?
Yes, there is a motion, but being we're going to be ending our session now, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Paula for juggling all this activity and coordinating everything between the lakes and the budget and the whole process. I hear she's done a phenomenal job from other participants in the process. Just wanted to point that out. Thank you. And I'm prepared for a motion, sir.
Go ahead.
I would move to approve the professional services contract with the Aquatic LLC of Bellingham, Washington in the amount of $240,000 and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contracts that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I think that should have said contract and any amendment. You didn't read it wrong. It's just not printed there.
Yeah, okay. Let me see if I can reword that for you, sir. How about if I start, well, I'll do the whole thing again. We'll get it right.
Appreciate that.
Did you catch the additional language?
I think so.
So on the, after the,
to
execute the contract and any amendment.
Any amendments, yeah.
Adding that, thank you.
It just wasn't down here in the verbiage.
Yep, you're right, it wasn't there, yeah.
Okay, let's see if I can get it right. I move to approve the professional services contract with Aquatic LLC of Bellingham, Washington in the amount of $240,000 and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. And we are on to item 8. Under County Manager, 8A is Commissioners' Report on Board Work Sessions, assigned committee meetings, or any community events or other reports. I'll start with Commissioner Mejia. Anything, Commissioner Mejia?
You need to repeat.
Oh, okay. I thought it was, sorry. Okay. On that, not much to report. I had the ORCA meeting, Thurston Thrives, and the Transportation Policy Board meetings this past week. Other than that, just been dealing with constituent concerns in regards to different an array of issues, including vaccination. So that's.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes, sir. Behavioral Health Organization meeting, COVID-19 concerns, both the vaccination and general concerns around, are we ever going to get over this, and the water issues, and I'll just let it go at that at this point in time. Thank you, sir.
Okay. I had the opportunity to attend the South Sound Reading Foundation Readers Are Leaders event. I attended the study meeting on Friday. Friday night, I attended the Community Farmland Trust annual meeting. I did my coffee with commissioner taping with Bob Barnes on around Earth Day that will hopefully be released here this week. mandatory finance committee training, and BHO meeting with Commissioner Edwards there. That's about the gist of my week besides the board activities. And with that, I will pass it to the county manager to walk through our combined schedule.
Thank you, Commissioner. Let me start by on Wednesday, April 21st, I will be highlighting the appointments where at least 2 commissioners will be present. You have individual appointments on your individual calendars. Those will not be part of this report. Tomorrow, 9 a.m., you have a briefing related to Thurston Strong, the 24-month economic recovery plan. At 10, you have a joint meeting with members from the Lake Lawrence and Lone Lake Management Districts, and the gist of the conversation will be in the interfund rate allocations. At noon, you have your regular meeting with your fellow elected officials here in the county. At 1 in the afternoon, you have a briefing related to the state of the water and sewer utilities that we own and operate. 2 in the afternoon, you have another briefing. This is related to the Thurston Economic Development Council District. Moving on to Thursday, April 22nd at 9:30, you have a nurse date with the McLean Elementary School children. And this is going to be via Zoom. So this is going to be a very nice Zoom meeting and see all the faces of these children from McLean. Also following to that briefing, at 10, you have the opportunity to have a tree planting ceremony here at the courthouse. We have received a donation for Mr. Bob Barnes of a tree, which is located here in room 280. So I will bring a clean shovel for the ceremony and give you the opportunity to celebrate Earth Day by planting a tree here at the courthouse campus. We'll find the right location to make sure it actually grows well and doesn't interrupt any future activities. At 10:30 on April 22nd, you have your regular commissioners check-in, and I will be providing an agenda 24 hours in advance. 11:30 to 1:30, you have a preview of the first budget amendment for 2021. And at 2 in the afternoon, you have a briefing related to the Washington State University Extension Program overview. Nothing on your combined schedule on Friday, April 23rd. Moving on to April 26th. At 10 in the morning, there is a Finance Committee meeting. Commissioner Mensah is the one who is a member of the Finance Committee meeting, but I believe Commissioner Mejia will be attending that. No? She said no, so we may want to take this out of the combined schedule.
I think I'm the backup, so I'm getting the invites and they appear in my calendar, but unless needed,
Okay.
I will not attend.
Thank you. At noon, you have your regular standing meeting with the Washington State Association of Counties. And at 5:30 in the afternoon, you have been invited to participate on the Thurston County Emergency Management Council virtual executive seminar. And that goes from 5:30 to 7:30. And then we all convene back here on Tuesday, April 27th at 9 a.m. on the regular agenda setting meeting. That's all I have for you. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the order before we adjourn?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Good job, everybody. We got a lot done today. We are adjourned.